Welcome to Thriving Moms of Autistics podcast, a free resource for moms raising young autistic children. I am your host, Dr. Christina Wilson. I created Thriving Moms of Autistics after years of experience working with families and having my own autistic child. I coach moms of young autistics one-on-one to tap into their strengths, create a supportive community, set firm boundaries, and raise their autistic child with confidence. Subscribe to the podcast and check out the earlier episodes so you don't miss a thing. Now, let's get to it. Hi, moms. Let's talk about unleashing what is good within you. Everyone has something good within them, right? But many aren't always aware of it or what exactly it is. Especially when things have gone so wrong and when things are so hard. Sometimes we just feel so defeated that we can't fathom having such power within ourselves. Our mindset is a very big part of it, but that is another episode. And we'll do more episodes on it. But in this episode, we explore how to identify those strengths, what is good, and how it helps you develop your inner superpower, which is your secret weapon to tackling those major challenges of raising your child. So get ready because this one is a game changer. And find full transcript at thrivingmomsofautistics.com/79. Please share the podcast with other moms to help them grow in their autism journey. And also, maybe check out Apple Podcast and leave a review because that kind of gets the word out and actually furthers our reach. So that's really important. And also check out the Thriving Moms of Autistics YouTube channel and hit subscribe. I appreciate you. And I'm so thankful that our paths have crossed. So when moms meet others where they're at, okay, I do talk about that a lot, meeting people where they're at, but they don't do the same for themselves. That is a problem. There's a disconnect there. And as moms of autistics, we experience a lot of demands, behavioral challenges, judgmental stares, and significant stress. And it's exhausting, right? You know what I'm talking about. We often hear, "Oh, you're so strong. I don't know how you do it," right? And many times moms feel overwhelmed with those statements. Now, I know that people mean well, but that can be really overwhelming for mom. And we all experience the full brunt of a situation as all of the things, right? So it's easier for someone else to acknowledge the good parts, much easier for them to do so. However, it's not as easy for those who are getting the full experience of it, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And it's okay to acknowledge your strength. I'm going to say that again. It's okay to acknowledge your strength. Okay? Your very strength, it's okay to do that, especially in the unimaginable situations that you endure. And your very strength was exactly what helped you get through those challenges, right? So tapping into those strengths is what gets you through the inevitable
challenges that, it's just key to shifting from surviving to thriving. It's how you do it. So that's key. So it is important that you do that. Why? Well, so when someone says, "Oh, you're so strong," okay, think about this. You might consider shifting your thoughts from hearing that to um, maybe hearing more, it's great that you used this strength in this situation because that is essentially being strong or using your strengths, right? It's great that you did this when this happened. So see, now it doesn't sound so malignant. It doesn't sound so awful and, you know, overwhelming, right? So why is that? Well, because what you did was essential in the process for the positive outcome. So had you not done that, then you wouldn't have made it through that, right? We frown upon being strong. But why would we frown upon using the tools in our mom toolboxes to overcome these big challenges that we have? Why would we do that? We're really hard on ourselves, aren't we? And I get it. I've been there. I completely get it. So I'm not mad when my husband puts something together with his tools. When I order something new from Amazon, that's going to make my life so much easier. I don't get mad when he does that. That's what tools are for. So a mom's toolbox is no different. And especially when it's a tool that is a part of who we are. Okay, that might sound confusing. What I mean by that is that this tool is innate. Okay, we all have strength and they are a part of who we are, and we develop them over a period of time and sometimes over years. But we do develop those strengths, and everybody has them, whether if we realize it or not. But we all have choices. I often hear moms say they'll respond to when someone says that they're so strong. Oh, I didn't have a choice. Of course you did. We all have choices. And, the news is full of moms who made a decision to not do the right thing. Um, and we've heard some really horrible stories because they were feeling so overwhelmed. But we do have a choice. In fact, moms make the choice to use their strength and to grow them and to use them, to learn more about them. So that is a choice. Now, I wanted to share this because moms don't always acknowledge how much they truly do in their journey. They don't. I mean, they're going 100 miles an hour and they feel, overwhelmed, and they're just trying to get through. So they don't really take the time to acknowledge how much they really do and how much they do impact their children and their families for the better. And it's okay to acknowledge that. In fact, it's healthy to do so. So, unveiling those strengths for moms is not an easy thing to do. Okay. It's not as easy as people think. But here are some strategies that I want to give you today that are going to be helpful. So while working with individuals over the past 3 decades, now I'm aging myself. I have found that one of the most difficult questions I've ever asked people is, what are your strengths? What do you do well? And that is like pulling teeth, and people just to be asked that. And it's really hard for them to identify. I know I'm one of them. I mean, it is like that for all of us. When I'm more trained to be able to do it. So, but not everyone is. Most people aren't. So I get that's very common. But since we all have strengths, which are imperative to our success in life, I have incorporated this in the 4-month Thrive VIP program that I do. And also the podcast, obviously, because I do talk about strengths a lot. And other services that are coming up, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to share that with you. But I've incorporated it into that as well. And strengths are just that important. Now, one of the barriers is that it feels uncomfortable to talk about what is good about ourselves, or that we fear that we're going to be perceived as a narcissist. But that is not what narcissism is, okay? One way to uncover your strengths is to consider a time when you thrived in a situation. So consider that. What was that process like? Or you may ask others for their opinions based on their observations. Of course, don't ask, somebody who complains all the time. Someone who really does know you and is willing to give you, the truth. Okay. So that's important. But ask others, what have you noticed that I do well? Also, you might exercise your own self-awareness muscle. And you know how I love awareness. I think awareness is just key to everything. It's so important. And increasing your awareness truly is where it's at. And they might say things like, you are super organized. You have such a calming spirit. Perhaps you're a planner or you're a problem solver. These are all straight. And these are all things that you can use as tools to get you through the difficult times. And you might have a strong emotional intelligence, or you're skilled at thinking about situations critically. And there are so many examples of strength. So my call to action for all of you amazing moms is the first is in the next week, I want you to ponder this question. And it's not what are your strengths? It's what gives you energy? What gives you energy? Think about that. Let that marinate, because that gives you a clue to where your strengths lie. Okay. That is a big flag in terms of your strength. And the other is what do others say about your strength? What are their observations? So you can do that in the next week as well. And finally, identify strengths, identify situations that have went well for you. Okay. Dissect your part in that. Okay. And you are worthy. You are a work in progress, just like me and just like everyone else, right? So celebrate those small victories along the way. And let's thrive together. And I can't wait to spend more time with you next week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Moms of Autistics podcast. Be sure to leave a review and tell other moms of autistics about the podcast. Let's support each other. Find the full transcript for this episode at thrivingmomsofautistics.com. And be assured, you are not alone in your journey.